Yeah, Bobby announced he's dual maining with Fox. Dude, I have quietly been posting fucking like novels on Reddit in the past couple weeks. And one of them actually was about Falco. You know, I'm trying to give good answers to shit. There was this post, right? So with Bobby switching to dual maining, what is the sub's elite opinion on the state of Falco in the meta? Let me jump to the full discussion real quick. I continue to see Falco supporters calling him top 3 or even saying top 2 in the meta, but I personally feel like he hasn't really been hanging for a while and has to be like 4th before Marth, Fox, and Puff at a minimum. Do we think that's too extreme? Or is there room for Falco's meta to develop and potentially push the character higher? And I saw a lot of responses to this that I don't necessarily agree with. Someone in that thread said it best, he's just top 1 at getting cheesed. Outside of that, he's almost a perfect character. He's 3 or 4 with Sheik. You know what, sort of true, but I also think that like, you're kind of missing the bigger picture. Nah, Falcon is top 1 of getting cheesed, Falco's top 2, right? And so I posted a whole big post about how I feel about Falco. And I'll try and paraphrase. I think that there's a pretty common misconception when it comes to Falco, right? I think that Falco is so good at some things that he teaches people to play melee in a way that is not scalable to like top level play. Like I said, he gets so much reward off of just like fishing for openings, reversaling people, and just like swinging and doing classic Falco shit, and kind of playing at one player and not learning to play this, like not learning to play a neutral that actually has to interact with his opponents in meaningful ways. And I think that actually makes it so that people learn to play melee in a limited way. And I think that all characters do that to some degree. In the post that I wrote, I said like Yoshi, Ice Climbers, and Luigi all teach people to gamble. Puff and Samus teach people to play really passively and just wait for them to fuck up. Fox teaches people to either dash dance camp or play really aggressively and think they can get away with it by spamming tech skill. And I think that all of these things are very limited, and it takes a very thoughtful approach to melee to work through these things, whatever the things that your main reinforces. But I think that the thing with Falco specifically is that some of his options are actually so good that the cost benefit, the risk reward of going for these things is fucked. You can get really far with Falco off of your only openings being like arbitrary, just like, yeah, I feel like it, dares at people, roll shine, spot dodge shine, wake up shine, and just killing people off of it. That then when you play against people who have answers, or even just like lasers, you know, like really solid laser set play, or a defensive option, like people crumble and they feel like the character is really limited. If anything, Falco's one of the most like capable characters in the game. It's that they are so used to just being able to do whatever they want that when they can't anymore, they think the character's broken. Like I said, that's not an issue with Falco specifically. All characters have that, but Falco, that works for so long. And especially at the low to mid level, where Falco, you know, Falco's punish game is less true in like a technical sense, but you get so much more damage so consistently at a lower to mid level because you get shine, dare, shine, dare, shine, and suddenly half their stock is gone. And that is attainable for players at a lot of levels of the game. This just like, yeah, fuck it, I feel like daring. I don't have to worry about CC. I'm just gonna try it and see if it hits them. That type of play works for a really long time, like really long. When that doesn't work, you see a lot of play styles that are a response or a reaction to that original game plan not working. You see a ton of laser spam, you see a ton of really defensive Falco, you see a ton of just jumping around the platforms and rolling around and trying to reversal people. And it's because people are searching for answers. But ultimately, I think that like, look, years ago people talked about how, I think it was like a ginger fiction, maybe even Leffen sentiment, where Falco is either the best character in the game or the 5th best character in the game, depending on how you play him. And I think that really is very much in line with what I'm describing, right? Where it's like, if you think Falco is a one-player experience, yeah, he's like the 5th best character in the game. You get reversaled, you die. But if you use his tools to play capital M melee, playing the person, you have a ton of options and flexibility and abilities to respond to the way that your opponent is playing. And I also don't like the idea that Falco, like, I think it's a cop-out to say that Falco gets gimped a lot and so he's an inconsistent character. Because yes, that's kind of true, but also Falco players are kind of notoriously doing these risky options that are irrespective of what their opponents are doing. And also, you have to remember that Falco does get blown up. But he also gets a ton of openings against people that maybe he doesn't deserve. He gets a ton of wake up shines or spot dodge shines or things that are gimmicky, but that net huge rewards. Autopilot wake up shine is not actually the best thing that you can do, because in a lot of spots, you can do a real mix up off wake up. But wake up shine is so good, like the reward is so good, that just doing it every time and not actually thinking about what your opponent is going for is like not the worst option, not the worst decision. And so, yeah, Falco loses some sets that are kind of bullshit, but he also wins some sets that are kind of bullshit. And people are very guilty of judging their melee skill by their peaks, myself included, right? People think that they are as good as their best wins. And so Falco giving people these you know, kind of cheesy opportunities also gives people a false sense of just how good they are. And if people were a little bit more self-reflective, if players said, you know what, I'm getting some wins I deserve and I'm getting some losses that I deserve, then I think we'd be a lot better off for it. And part of also why the Falco players think that he's notably bad is because the incongruency between people saying, yeah, Falco's the best in the game, but then also it feeling like it's hard to win, or like you're just getting hit with some bullshit. I think that rubs a lot of players the wrong way, you know? Like, so I think people complain about it a lot. It's like, there's no way that Falco can be one of the best characters in the game. I don't win with him. It's like, well, yeah, maybe you just have to be better, brother. Like, I'm sorry.